today at 5 o'clock, the world's going to stop. And if you're working for organizations and you were reliant on federal funds, federal grants, you're going to be in for a real shaky ride. And I saw this in the news in the morning, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. Till I did some researching, and we're going to see in this video what this is all about. So if you haven't watched the news today, the federal government is pausing all grants, subsidies, foreign aid, all this kind of stuff, and said, we're going to review this first. And so I got some videos lined up because they are hilarious, and I got some data and some stuff that I found out that they're, doing some digging online to see what that money actually goes towards. And I want you to see, to comment below afterwards and see if this is a good way of the government spending money. So let's look at what they had to say in the first place.
A dramatic new move that could impact millions of Americans. Overnight, the administration ordered a freeze that starts today on all federal grants, loans, and other aid. Now, that could amount to trillions in federal dollars.
This new order is sweeping, but it is also confusing. And this morning, all of Washington is trying to figure out exactly what it means. The White House appears to be calling on all agencies to impose a spending freeze on federal assistance by 5 p.m. today. And it appears that we're talking about everything from aid to nonprofit organizations to funding for universities. This could even affect loans to small businesses and grants to state and local governments. Now, in this memo, the Office of Management and Budget at the White House orders all federal agencies to assess all of their programs and activities to ensure that they comply with President Trump's recent executive orders. And in the meantime, it says all federal assistance must be temporarily frozen. The memo specifically mentions financial assistance for foreign aid, quote, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. The White House estimates the U.S. spent $3 trillion on federal assistance last year, though how they came up with that number is not exactly clear. The memo states this will not impact Social Security, Medicare, or assistance provided directly to individuals.
Is this even legal?
Well, Democrats are already arguing that it isn't. Chuck Schumer, the Senate's top Democrat, put out a statement overnight saying, quote, Congress approved these investments and they are not optional. They are the law. He said this sudden freeze is going to lead to organizations missing payroll, not being able to pay their rent. There are also concerns that this temporary freeze could impact disaster assistance, programs for the elderly or the hungry, even school lunch programs. No one really knows. But this memo, Gail, from the Trump White House argues, quote, that the use of federal dollars to advance Marxist equity, transgenderism, and Green New Deal social engineering policies is a waste of taxpayer dollars that does.
Okay, so we watched this video. It was a little bit longer, but now let's see what they're spending money on, because now you're like, oh, it makes it seem so bad, right? Just like, oh my gosh, kids aren't going to get lunches. And I read some other stuff that said lunches are still going to be paid out and they're still going to give all that. So what they got problems for is that the National Institute of Health granted an almost $500,000 study into whether lonely rats are more inclined to use cocaine than their social counterparts. So, okay, be like, okay, that's one study. No. So this is another one that they're trying to do. The research at San Diego State University and the University of California, Davis received a portion of $300,000 from the National Science Foundation grant to develop a robotic squirrel. The projects aim to study interactions between squirrels and rattlesnakes. So this is another one of 300,000. So now let's look at some more that they're actually doing. And you let me know in the comments below if this is something that you agree to spend money on, or if we should cap this and just say, you know what, go away with all this. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe. I make videos like this all the time. And if you're on LinkedIn, let's connect. Okay, so another study is a hamster aggression study. A study led by researchers at Northwestern University invested aggression in hamsters over 2 decades. The project received funding from the National Institute of Health. Right, so we're seeing that National Institute of Health. So we're going to circle back to that after this one. And then this is the third one that I just think is absolutely insane. So this one is Shrimp on a Treadmill. A project funded by the National Science Foundation involved placing shrimp on a tiny treadmill to study their response to stress. The research aims to understand the impact of environmental changes of marine life. However, it's become a focal point in debates over the government spending. In some views, this is example of stupid research, right? So now we're looking at all this kind of stuff. And when we look at this national, what's the exact name again? So this is the National Science Foundation. They're funded by Congress. And so your tax dollars go towards studying mice, robots, squirrels, and a whole bunch of other nonsense. So you let me know if this is something that you want funded and researched on. I sure don't. I think we should kick it all to the curb. I say stop the nonsense. We're in so much debt. We are in trillions of dollars of debt that every $100 you make, $40 almost goes to just the interest alone. Picture that. You spend $100 on taxes and 40% just goes away on interest. It's absolutely a disgrace. And so now there's other people being really, really worried because it's not just that we're funding these crazy research projects. No, we're funding Boeing with billions of dollars. We're funding Intel with billions of dollars. Ford Motor Company with billion. So to put some number, Boeing has received approximately $15.5 billion in government subsidies. So if you're Boeing, and then this would be mine. If I was in the White House or if I was around that orbit, I'd say, if these companies get any dollars of funding and they're going to lay off just 10 people that aren't performance-based, this grant or whatever it was is going to be a loan and you're going to have to pay everything back, because Intel also has been granted around $8 billion in government subsidies for the CHIP Act, and they let 15,000 Americans go. You know what? It's time to pay that money back. It is time to convert that $8 billion into a loan, into a high-interest loan. Credit card companies charge 29%. Let's charge Intel 29%. And if they go belly up, so be it. Ford Motor Company secured approximately $7.7 billion in subsidies. General Motors, the same, 7.4. Micron Technologies. So you're seeing that we're funding all these huge corporations while they're extorting their people, right? They're firing them, and your tax dollars going back into their pocket. So it just doesn't align with what we're trying to do when everybody's like, we gotta get rid of the government, the government subsidies and all this other stuff. Yeah, if those big conglomerates can't stand on their own 2 feet and don't need federal funding, we're done. We need to figure out a new way of how to do it, because let's listen to one more video of how they were going to spend the money. So let's listen to this video.
Past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. Just during this pause, DOGE and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOGE and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars. 39 million went
to the World Health Organization, and 50 million almost went to fund for condoms in Gaza. So I'm just like, we have veterans that have been neglected, that haven't been taken care of, that got denied treatment. Let's spend that money there. Let's spend the money on people that actually serve the country, right? And yeah, it's just absolutely crazy when you're thinking about $50 million for condoms. What? If it was $50 million for rice, noodles, pasta, stuff to eat, and, farmers and all this other stuff, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. They need food, they need first aid. I'd get that. But condoms, come on. It's just crazy. And somebody put this deal together. It's not like this is just some random act of like, oops, this one slided by. No, it's these $1,600 pages when they pass the government funding, when they're like, hey, 1,600 pages overnight, and everybody's got to vote on it to keep the government open. Then they push these things in where it's like, hey, we're going to fund robo-mice for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then other people can't get jobs, can't get cheap rent, can't buy a house, can't do all this other stuff because inflation's so high when you go spend crazy amounts of money. So, man, that condom factory must have been like, yeah, we just got a $50 million order to send condoms to Gaza. It's like, oh my gosh, it is just absolutely insane. You look at all these things, and I don't know about you, but I'm just shaking my head and being like, how did this pass? How did this all fly by on the American people? You as a business owner, and I'm a business owner myself, nobody ever came to me and said, you know what, you need $50 million to help people land jobs. I'd be like, yeah. But I'm actually doing something. It's not like we're gonna help, what was this? Oh yeah, it was that the United States sent $6 million to help the tourism industry in Egypt. I was like, how is this even possible? How are we paying for other people's tourism? It's like, come on, if it's like, the worst thing would be if there's aliens around, because I bet you if there's aliens around, we'd be sending them money. We'd be like, hold on, let's get our checkbook out. Let's write them a check so they can get acclimated to Earth. Let's pay for it. So it's like, man, thank God we don't have those around, because we'd be probably paying for them. So it's like, no, we need to stop this nonsense. We need to cut it. We're in so much debt to our eyeballs. It's like we are like drunken sailors, pulled the credit card through everywhere we saw. It's almost like we went to the store and just be like, yeah, let's just ring it all up. And then all of a sudden the bill comes through and it's like, oof, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of money. So yeah, as a business owner, I'm just shaking my head. As people that done it, man, those were crooks, I'm telling you. Those people have just been doing some crazy stuff. Oh, man. And now the debt clock has the Doge counter on it. So how much they save, because it's just absolutely crazy. Spending all this money, man, the American people need to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to start saying, hey, this is our money that we're paying. We need to fund it for the right spots. We need to fund small businesses. We need to give grants, not loans, to small businesses. We need to take those $8 billion, Intel doesn't need them, divide that by the small business owners, by the local mom and pop shop pizza stores right there. Help those guys out. Give those people tax breaks. Help them out. But yeah, man, we always, big corporations got deep pockets, so they'll fund politicians, and then in return, politicians go out and say, yeah, I got you. I'll help you out. And then they open up the government checkbook where nobody pays for it. And that's just how it goes. And it's like, it's crazy. It's almost like this student loan thing. The government writes student loans. These universities crank out these students. They can't get a job. They're in hundreds of thousands of dollars up to their debt, into their eyeballs. They can't get past the debt. They're just drowning in debt. And then all of a sudden, the government has to come in and bail them out. So it's just not right. It's just not right. If you're as a college and you can't get these people jobs, your ability to do that is done. It's almost like a driving school. If you have a driving school and like a huge percentage of your people that went to your driving school crashed on the way out, you'd probably be like, we need to investigate that private driving school, right? And yeah, but it's like, no, let's just throw more money at it. Let's just keep funding money, and let's just keep throwing more and more money at it. Hopefully the problem goes away. And most likely it's not. It's just going to get worse. And then it's the next generation, and then the next generation. So it's going to be really, really interesting. So yeah, it is absolutely interesting. If you please haven't, like and subscribe, doesn't cost you anything. And most of my people always watch my videos, but they're not subscribed because 80% are not. So please, please, please like and subscribe. And yeah, let me know what you think about all this craziness in the market, in the White House, in the economy, because man, it's going to be interesting. I'm all for paying off some debt, you know, getting a year or two of hard times to pay off some debt, and we will be better for it afterwards. But man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with all these crooks there trying to weasel in thousands of pages of who knows what studies. I don't even know these studies. If you study these squirrels, what are you trying to figure out? What do you even try to do with these shrimp? Like, stress on shrimp? What are you trying to prove? Like, I don't know. I can't even think about it. You guys let me know, because I just have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. So I love you guys. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.